Beneath the windswept plains of the Bodrogköz, the quiet earth of Karos bears silent witness to those who carved a homeland from the steppes into the heart of Europe. Here lie warriors and their kin, men and women whose lives bridged worlds, and whose identities were forged on the frontier between East and West. It is a silent archive of a vanished social order, a mirror of identity, power, and heritage. Karos is the story of how a people arrived, took root, and shaped a legacy, and how identity endures, long after names are forgotten.
Welcome, everyone. In this video, I'm taking you on a journey back over 1,100 years as we explore Karos Cemetery, one of the richest archaeological treasures from Hungary's earliest history. Specifically, we will focus on Karos II, one of three cemeteries discovered in the Bodrogköz region of northeastern Hungary, near the waters of the Upper Tisza River. Excavated between 1986 and 1988 by archaeologist Laszlo Reeves, Karos II revealed 73 graves dating from the late 9th to the mid-10th century, right at the time of the Hungarian Conquest. So, what can you expect in today's video? We'll take a closer look at three remarkable individuals: an elderly warrior carrying the deep heritage of the eastern steppes, a young noblewoman adorned with golden braid ornaments, and a chieftain buried with all the emblems of power and leadership. Let's meet K247, better known as the girl with the braid discs. This young woman stood out as the most richly adorned female in the entire Karos II cemetery. She was the embodiment of a life shaped by centuries of migration and cultural fusion, and her skull revealed a unique blend of Eurasian beauty. Her grave tells a vivid story. Beside her skull were two large, gilded silver braid discs, each about 8 centimeters in diameter. These circular ornaments were crafted from pressed silver sheet, gilded by fire and decorated with mythical animal figures, whose limbs end in palmette-like tendrils. Interestingly, the two discs were not perfectly matched. One was more worn and damaged, hinting that they were crafted at different times. These discs, with their zoomorphic motifs and steppe-inspired creatures, are considered among the finest examples of 10th-century Hungarian adornments. But her display of wealth didn't stop there. Grave 47 also contained a suite of gilded silver mounts and studs, once sewn onto her kaftan-like dress, decorating her from collar to hem. Rhombus-shaped ornaments likely trimmed the neckline of her underdress, and smaller circular pieces adorned the sleeves or chest. A forensic facial reconstruction by Karos-Eperjesszög II shows an almond-eyed young woman, embodying the unique Eurasian beauty that defined the era. Genetically, she belonged to mtDNA haplogroup U4A1b1, a lineage with broad European origins, further underscoring the diversity at Karos. And socially, her place in the cemetery speaks volumes. With such lavish adornment, K247 was certainly a high-status woman, possibly the wife, sister, or daughter of a chieftain, perhaps even connected to the leader buried in grave 52. Whether through bloodline or marriage, she belonged to the ruling stratum of the Karos community. Though we may never know the full story of her life, her personal name, her cause of death, or her exact role, K247 remains one of the most vivid and human portraits of the Hungarian Conquest period. A noblewoman wrapped in silver and myth, caught between worlds, embodying a culture forged at the crossroads of East and West. Let us journey back in time and meet the man of grave K260. Buried more than a millennium ago, this elderly individual, classified as having Europo-Mongoloid features, likely over 60, lived a notably long life for his time, suggesting resilience and elevated social standing. His reconstructed face, crafted by Karos-Eperjesszög II in the 1980s, shows an aging warrior, a strong, weathered face with subtle Eastern features, evoking the image of an elder steppe noble. Genetically, he carried Y-DNA haplogroup C2, M86, a lineage common among Mongolian and Siberian populations, but extremely rare in Europe. His paternal line most likely traces back to Central Asia, possibly even linked to the Xiongnu or early Hun nomads, groups whose influence stretched far across Eurasia. K260's maternal haplogroup N1A1A1A has been classified in a Hungarian study as originating from the Eastern Steppe, with parallels to Xiongnu-affiliated populations. According to haplotree.info, this lineage is found exclusively in archaeogenetic samples from populations of the Eastern and Central Eurasian steppe, including the Kushnarenkovo-Karyapovo cultures, notably at the Yelgi site, closely linked to 10th century Hungarians, as well as among the Pazyryk, early Sarmatians, a Mongol period individual, and the conquering Hungarians themselves. Together with his C2, M217 paternal lineage, K260 represents a distinctly Eastern genetic profile within the Karos-II cemetery. While we don't have a full inventory of his grave goods published, it's likely he was buried as a mounted warrior elite, with weapons, horse equipment, and ornaments symbolizing his high status, much like other prominent graves of the era. Though some details, like his precise grave goods, are still missing, K260 stands out as a vivid reminder of the Eastern roots woven into the birth of Hungary. Note, this section slightly differs from the rest. At the end, we will take a closer look at K252's ancestry through insights from academically published QPADM models, placing him in relation to ancient populations from the Neolithic to the early medieval period, an attempt to approximate where he may have most likely come from. Grave 52 is the most prestigious burial at Karos-II, likely belonging to a man in his 40s who held significant authority, a tribal chief or military leader of the Hungarian conquest. What makes his story even more compelling is the genetic evidence that links him directly to another elite figure in the nearby Karos-III cemetery, Grave 11. They share identical maternal and paternal lineages, strongly suggesting they were brothers. Together, they may have represented a powerful dynastic family that held sway over this region during the early 10th century. So who was he really? K252's facial reconstruction, created in the 1980s by Ulish Kultidi, reveals a strong, elongated face with a prominent aquiline nose and deep-set eyes. In this case, genetic data from ADN-XB offers predictive traits. According to this, he likely had dark skin, brown eyes, and dark hair, features I have integrated into my artistic reconstruction, lending a vivid presence to his striking facial structure. His grave contained a full array of martial and ceremonial items befitting a Hungarian warlord of the early 10th century. Several highlights stand out. An ornate saber with silver gilt mounts, reflecting high craftsmanship and his elevated martial rank. Richly decorated archery gear, and a silver sabretash plate, a symbol of Magyar leadership, worn on the belt as a visible emblem of rank. He was also laid to rest with a partial horse burial, a striking feature of Hungarian conquest-era elite graves. This burial rite, characterized by symbolic inclusion of the horse, is known archaeologically as a hallmark of the conquering Hungarians and the Huns. Precious foreign coins, including Arabian dirhams and Carolingian deniers, were found in the grave, likely repurposed as dress ornaments. These securely date the burial to around 900 to 920 AD. Aligning with the earliest phase of Hungarian settlement in the Carpathian Basin. Let's now turn to the genetic profile of K252, beginning with his haplogroups, followed by a QPADM ancestry analysis based on data from a 2022 study. His Y chromosome belonged to haplogroup I2A1, subclade Y4460, a lineage primarily found in Eastern and Southeastern Europe. Its presence in a leading figure like K252 highlights that the leadership of the Hungarian conquest-era elite emerged from diverse backgrounds. A range of paternal lines were clearly integrated into the tribal hierarchy. Even more compelling is his maternal lineage. Haplogroup X2F, a rare and ancient West Eurasian branch. This same mtDNA was also identified in Grave 11 of Karos-III, as mentioned before, pointing strongly to a full sibling relationship between the two high-ranking men. The maternal X2F lineage, sparsely found in Europe and the Near East, may trace back to the Caucasus region, hinting that their maternal ancestry entered the Hungarian elite from these culturally connected zones. Let's take a look at the QPADM2 source modeling of K252's genome, as presented in a 2022 study. It offers 4 plausible ancestral combinations, with one model showing a mix of 56% Ur-Core 5 and 44% ancestry from the Zarkutin site in Bronze Age Uzbekistan. Other models suggest similar proportions using Ur-Core 4 or Ur-Core 5 paired with Alan-related ancestry. Interestingly, Karos-Eperjesszög II, the cemetery where K252 was buried, is known to be the most genetically diverse of the 3 Karos sites. Another individual from this cemetery, K261, is represented by a substantial number of published 3-way QPADM models, which consistently incorporate a core conquest period component, Conch-Asia Core 1 or Core 2, alongside significant Eastern Steppe ancestry. And so, amid the striking genetic diversity uncovered at the Karos-Eperjesszög II cemetery rises K252. His grave speaks of how such leaders lived, ruled, and were honored in death. Founders of a homeland carved from the steppes into the heart of Europe.